responses. So I thought this would be a good thing, especially now because it's getting cold outside and I'm all cozy with my how do you call this? Sweater, no, not even sweater, and my blanket. And then I also got my huge tea. The name is Schlafschön, which means sleep well, and it's my friend's cup, which I really like. Okay, so I'm just gonna start because I guess this takes a while. I'm not planning to do everything in one time because it's probably too long. But anyway, so let's start. By the way, before I forgot it, I have a Patreon page if you want to have exclusive material and support me at the same time. Check it out in the description box. So, okay. So, I have always known that I wanted to go away for a longer time, so not only a few weeks. And I finished my study when I was 25, and I lived in Basel back then. This is a city in Switzerland, very close to France and Germany. So after the study, I basically had no money, and if I say no money, I mean like I was on zero. So then I knew that I wanted to go abroad a year later, and so I knew that I only had 1 year to save all this money for this travel. I have worked in the gym, and I had quite a few lessons. I'm a group fitness instructor, as you maybe know, and I really saved every cent I could. I was living with 2 other girls in a flat, so I did not have to spend too much money on living, and I just really never ate out. I just really tried to get as much money together as possible, and I could create my travel that I always would meet up with friends for just like one country or one part of my travel, and a few countries I did completely on myself, just with my backpack. So I started when I was 26, so that was 7 years ago, basically, or seven and a half, I guess, already. Yeah. And I also did not have a lot of money for the flights, as you maybe can imagine, and I went to a travel agency that were specialized for backpacking, and I had an awesome how do you say that, broker there, and she could really create me all these flights, and I paid really only 4,000 for everything, and that was really not a lot. I first wanted to travel really spontaneously, and then I just realized I did not have the money for that, because if you just always book one flight at a time, it would have cost me double or triple, and that was just not possible back then. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it like so. And boyfriend back then, not like I don't know if you can call this, but not like oh no, I mean we were a couple, but I always knew that I wanted to go away and that I also wanted to do this on my own, just to be independent and stuff like that. But we didn't break up in the beginning. So even though I was really, really excited, I was also sad to leave because of him. I had to take a train to Frankfurt, which is the biggest airport, I guess, in Europe. It was so big. It was really, really big, and I did not fly that many times yet back then, so I was really glad that I found the right place, because it was ridiculously huge. And so I remember, because it always costs you money if you wanna make a reservation for your seat, which I did not have. So I was sitting, it was like a huge plane with like 9 seats in one line, and I was like in the middle of the middle. And I remember that I was like crying, and I just hit my head like this with a cap and with my hoodie. So yeah, a little drama in the beginning, but I firstly flew to Vancouver, which is in Canada for the ones who don't know it. And then I met with a friend, a guy actually. He was traveling already for, I don't know, a few months already, and we met up there. And firstly it was kind of a culture shock, because he was already he was fully in this travel mood, and I wasn't yet. I was still, still feeling a little homesick, and I was just like, okay, I'm doing this right now. I still could not really believe it. We went to a hostel in Vancouver, which was mixed. I mean, the gender were mixed. There were girls and guys inside, and yeah, I remember that we went to North Vancouver, Gross Valley, I guess, or something like that. To be honest, it looked quite a bit like Switzerland. That's also what a lot of people say, that Canada is a little like Switzerland, just a lot bigger, more nature, less people. And I mean, we have seen waterfalls and just, really nice nature. And I also liked Vancouver, I guess. It was okay. I mean, it was not like my favorite city, but it was pretty okay. And then we took a bus to Seattle, which is pretty up. I mean, I don't know, it's probably the first big city in the States. And in Seattle we took a train all the way down to LA. Oh no, that's not true. We also first went to San Francisco. And I have to tell you guys, I mean, everyone is so amazed about San Francisco, but I honestly wasn't. I wasn't that much, because I mean, we have been there in July and I freezed my ass off. I remember that I even had to wear a scarf and a big jacket that I more or less felt kind of warm. I did not have anything else, because I mostly was going to warmer countries. And yeah, I mean, I liked the city. But I also remember that I have seen so many people, homeless people, I don't know, especially in San Francisco. I can still remember that, which kind of shocked me a little. Also, which was really shocking, was a street in Vancouver. Don't ask me anymore how it's called, but it's a street and there's like all kind of, I don't know, heroin and meth addict people, and our hostel was pretty close by, so we were walking there once, and I was kind of shocked because the people there were really walking around like zombies. I felt a little like in The Walking Dead, and yeah, I don't know, it's just stuff like that you would not see here in Switzerland. Also not in, well, I don't know, I'm not in the most, in Western North Europe, you would not really see stuff like that, or not in that, I don't know, not so many people in one specific place, but whatever. Yeah, I remember just San Francisco, we were walking on this famous bridge, and I just remember it was windy. It was so windy and I was freezing, and I just thought, what the fuck? It's July. But then I also got told July is not the best month to go to San Francisco. But yeah. So anyway. Then, as I said, I guess we took a train from San Francisco then all the way down to LA. And as you maybe know, I mean, here in Switzerland or in most of the European countries, public transportation is just really common, like everyone takes it. And in the States, it was really kind of a big thing. I mean, we had an overnight drive, and it was so special because, or did we take the train from Vancouver to San Francisco? I really don't remember anymore. Anyway, well, this train, it was really fancy, and or how do you say this? Or place, or like, or I don't know, Abteil, I would say in German. We had our own carer, and there was a guy who was talking in the beginning. Hey, hello, I welcome you. I am responsible for you, so if you have any questions, just come to me, and I will be here for you. Which is really not common in Switzerland, you know, just get in the train and you get off and that's it. And I also remember that we first had to go to like a reception to get the ticket. I mean, in Switzerland you would just go in the train, no one cares, it's just like a really normal thing. And I also remember that I asked a girl from there what we have to do exactly, and she told me, oh, I don't know, I'm American, we don't do trains. So yeah. And I also remember that the train had like a huge window where you could sit and take a view out of the window, which was really great. It was really like a tourist kind of attraction. So yeah. Anyway, we went to LA, and in LA we met two other friends of mine, and they only went to the States for, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks to do the West Coast. So, as I said, we met up there. We rent an Airbnb accommodation in LA, and I was not so excited to go there. But seriously, guys, I hated it. I have no idea why everyone wants to go to LA. I really don't get it. We basically had to take the car for every single step we wanted to take. It was just a huge street, so many cars, and it was still July, beginning of July. And then we also went to the beach, of course, and also there, I don't know if we were really unlucky, but we had really bad weather. I remember wearing jeans and still not being really warm. And we also went out. This was really cool, to a Korean barbecue kind of restaurant. This is something which is not existing here in Switzerland. I really liked it, even though they did not have so many vegetarian versions. So yeah, then I really, I cannot talk about every city we have been too much, otherwise I would talk for like 10 hours. So then we went to, I guess, San Diego. There was a place I really liked. I remember we went to a cool hostel with a lot of other young people. We went out, which was great, even though I was a little irritated when we went to a club and at 1 a.m. they stopped the music and they turned off the light and they turned on the lights. Here mostly clubs are opening at 10 or 11, and there it stopped at 1. I was really okay. That was kind of weird. We were in one of the most famous cities in the States. So, yeah. But, whatever. So, yeah, then... Well, anyway, I really liked San Diego, but that was just a nice city, I guess. And then... I really don't remember the exact route anymore, guys, so really I do apologize. I also remember we went to Grand Canyon, which I liked, but I really preferred Bryce Canyon, which is in Utah, and just it's not that popular, it's not that famous, but you could go walk down, you could really go into the canyon, not just stand on the top and see everything. And I really preferred that over the Grand Canyon. And I also remember that we had a really nice accommodation, just like somewhere in nowhere, and there was a farm and there were farmer people, and they just had a few rooms available. And I also still remember that we lied to them because we really had to. We really had to. Fuck, I guess now I'm wrong. Okay, I told you a wrong route. Before we went to the Grand Canyon and Bryce Canyon, we made a stop in Las Vegas, and it was crazy hot. I almost did not survive it. I was walking around like a zombie during the day, and we could book a really great motel. For that price it was really great, and they had like a really tiny pool, and I remember that we were hanging around on that pool one day because it was just really too hot to do something. We went to a casino, of course, several times, and which was great, great, it was okay. I never won something, of course, because I never do, but I could drink for almost nothing because because you basically can sit in the casino and pay, I don't know, $1 or $2 for a drink. But of course they want you to get drunk to spend the money. But yeah, I also remember that we were on a rooftop party and it was all fancy and stuff, and which was really cool, and you could really see the whole city. And what more? Yeah, I just remember Las Vegas was all about heat and the casinos, I guess. I mean, I also know that we went shopping. It had like a shitload of shops with I don't know what. I mean, I basically could not really buy something because I only had my backpack with me. So anyway, my male friend left from there, and I went to the Grand Canyon and the Bryce Canyon with my 2 other friends. And then I don't even know. I guess we drove back to somewhere. And oh my gosh, I left them. They made their travel on their own, and I went to Austin. And lucky as I was, I lost my credit card and my normal bank card would not work anymore because I had already used the limit. So I don't remember. I just remember I was stuck in Austin for like a week because I had to wait to get my new credit card. So I had to stay in this hostel, and I was like so lucky to realize that a few days before on the day before my other 2 friends left, so she could lend me some money. Austin was also pretty hot, and but a cool city. I was also in a hostel with a lot of young people, and I remember this music street where we went out, and I also remember that I went to the gym a few times. There it was cold at least, and I don't know. I also remember that I have seen bats at, how do you say, dawn. So basically when the sun went away, and there was a river, and I remember that I went there one evening, and I remember that I have seen so many bats, which was pretty amazing. And I also remember that I went to not a pool, but like somewhere where we could just, maybe it was also a river where you could just, take a swim or something. So from Austin, I went to, let me check, to Houston. I guess I went to Houston. Is that possible? I guess it is. Yeah. About Houston, there is not so much to tell. Or well, I met a girl that I met in Austin, and I met her there again. So yeah, so she drove me around and showed me the city. Also, Austin, it was really hard, I thought, to do something if you do not have a car. Oh, by the way, I always took this great Greyhound buses, and they were like freezing cold. I mean, I almost froze to death under to death, but you know what I mean. It was just so ridiculous because outside it was so hot, and if you went inside, it was so cold. And I mean, you got a blanket, but I really didn't know if they washed them on a regular basis, so I was a little grossed out. I was anyway grossed out about so many places. I would really like to show you some pictures, but I don't know why I did not make any. I really don't know why. Yeah. So anyway, so for Austin, I went to New Orleans. I would say New Orleans, but I think the locals said New Orleans. So, and that's where the adventure really began. So, because my big dream was it to see the south of the States, which I already did. But in New Orleans, I met up with another friend from Switzerland. So she flew from Switzerland to the States, to New Orleans, to be correct. And so it's gonna become a little embarrassing. So what we wanted was to make a road trip. I mean, before I was in a car, but I was not allowed to drive it. And because you have to, make a signature in the book that you would drive this car in case you have an accident and the insurance would not pay otherwise. Anyway, sorry, just had to stop the video for a moment. So anyway, it was our dream to make a road trip through the south of the States. So I really liked New Orleans. I liked the vibe, the atmosphere, the city, the food. I mean, even though I am vegetarian, we had great food. I remember that we had crazy desserts and stuff. And I have also been to this very famous place, Café du Monde. And I went to a hand reader. Just I gave in it like pretty much. So if you have the time, go to New Orleans. And we also went to a club. I don't know what they were playing. I guess some electro, but before I went to a concert. It was jazz, or oh my gosh, I don't even remember. I don't remember anymore. So anyway, well, normal people probably would rent a car already in advance, just to be sure that everything would go right. Well, we did not. I just googled something and then I said, look, near our hostel there is like a car rent. Let's just go there. So we did that. And okay, let's just say I'm a person who hates car driving, and I'm also pretty afraid. And the friend that I did that with had the same problem. So we were both 26 at that time, but we never went to a gas station. Alright, I'm not joking. I mean, I never had my own car, so I did not really have to do it. I only drove my dad's car from time to time, but also just really rarely. And then we also both never drive with an automatic car, also not for 5 minutes. So we basically did not have a clue what we were doing. We just went to this rent car, whatever, shop. And so we went straight on the highway because we wanted to go to literally, let me tell you guys, I went into this car and I didn't know how it would work. And so someone had to help me and to show me, and then I remember I drove and I was so scared, and I just turned right and went directly on the highway, which is basically easier to drive, but still it's fast and everything. And yeah, so finally we made it to a place, don't ask me where anymore, but just in a swamp in Louisiana, and we went to an alligator ride on a boat. And these alligators were basically like dogs. I mean, the owner of this tour would always call them, and I remember one alligator's name was Daisy, and he would have chicken, and then they would just come and grab it and leave. But it was really great because I don't know if you know the movie from Anne Rice, Interview with a Vampire. I really was obsessed with it, and I don't know, the whole atmosphere, like it's so hard to explain in English. I just really loved it. And then we also I mean, as you maybe know, we did not have a lot of money. I mean, not at all. And I thought that the accommodations in the States would be a little cheaper. I mean, we sometimes really had to sleep in places I could not really believe that it was real, because you know, from Europe you always would watch all these movies and series. We are pretty much influenced by Americans' TV world, and I was just amazed how much it was pretty much the same. I mean, we were sleeping in some accommodations. I really guess they were made for drug addicts. I remember that the cheapest places, I don't know if it was a coincidence, but they were always like from Indian people. Don't ask me why. And I mean, sometimes it was not even really cleaned. I guess they just changed the sheet, but I don't know when they vacuumed the last time. And I mean, once we heard some shoots, I guess it was pretty close to the motel. I mean, we would just, we never made an accommodation in advance. I would just stop somewhere. And I also remember that the streets in the States, they are like so dark. I mean, here you have a lamp pretty much every, I don't know, under 200 meters. There was just nothing. I mean, like nothing. And I mean, here it's, Switzerland is pretty much safe. And I really get that Americans sometimes are more afraid to go out or just to take a walk by themselves. I mean, we sometimes made a stop to maybe buy some snacks. And I also remember the first time we had to go to a gas station. It was in Lafayette, which is in Louisiana, I think, still. And I mean, let me tell you, we tried it by yourself, but we did not. We were not successful, so we had to go to the owner of the gas station and ask him for help. And yeah, it was a little embarrassing, but whatever. We were just stupid European guys, girls. house, and then you could see where the slaves had to sleep, like in little wooden kind of places, and everything with cotton plantations and stuff like that. I just, oh my gosh, I don't know how to explain that. Well, anyway, we went there, which was really interesting as well, and it was hot. It was just so hot all the time. I also remember we went to Mississippi and we stopped somewhere, which was the home of the teddy bear. And I guess we also made a stop in Mississippi. I guess that was Mississippi, which was Sanchez. It was a calm, small city. Oh my gosh, there's so many, all the memories are kind of mixed in my head. I just know that I really liked it. I mean, so many people go to drive down the west or east coast, but I mean, for me, it really wasn't. I don't know, the south of the States, for me, it's kind of the original, where it all started, where it all comes from. I mean, if there's people from the southern states of the USA, please feel free to tell me like everything you feel, or what you like, what you don't like, to live there. We were in Memphis, we were in Nashville, and well, let's just start. I mean, Memphis, I don't remember it anymore that much. And but I had one of my greatest nights of my whole travel, basically, in Nashville. Let me tell you, I do not really listen to country music, but for me it's also some kind of the, real or the original American kind of life. I don't know. I mean, yeah, as I said, I never really listened to it, but I like the music if it's a good song. So we went out, we were getting pretty drunk, and we ended up in a bar, and there was a band playing, so there was live music everywhere, of course, and there were a lot of pretty old people, like really, 60, 70 plus, and it was so cute, because there was a really old guy, I mean, I guess he was 70 something, and he really asked me for a dance, and I mean, I had no clue how to do it, obviously, but I said yes, because I was like in such a good mood, and it was so cute, because I danced with him for maybe, I don't know, half an hour, and I guess I also danced with another guy, which was older already, and I just thought that was so heartwarming, and it was just so refreshing to, the life we young people have. I also remember that the younger guys, which were in the bar, just were standing around and didn't do anything at all. They were just like, staring and stuff, and I thought this gesture was so cute to ask me for a dance, and they were really not being perverts or anything, and we just had like a really good conversation, and it was just so cool to meet with local, with people from the States, not with other tourists. That was really great. I had such a great night, and I remember I was just so happy, and I wish we would have something like this here as well, but I just have like, the regular club stuff going on. So yeah, but I also puked the day after. fascinated me so much with the southern kind of vibe. I mean, maybe someone of you can tell me that. I mean, in the south, they always said yes, ma'am. And I really didn't know why. I mean, they only did that in the south. They would not say that anywhere else. But they always said yes, ma'am. Which was kind of cute, but also kind of weird. And then I remember that I bought some country CDs in Nashville, and we would always listen to it when we were driving. We were driving so long. I mean, basically we were driving to North Carolina. No, I guess South Carolina, to the beach. And it was so windy. And we were so pissed off. I mean, I bought a sun umbrella, and it was so windy, it just blew it away within, I don't know, 30 seconds. And, I mean, I don't know, I guess in the States it's not, like, really normal to go to a pool. I mean, here we have, like, you know, public pools. And there it seems it's not like that. We also have been once to a lake on a camping kind of place, but we were basically the only people, and you could not really take a swim. It was really all swampy and stuff. And yeah, I don't know. And I remember there were so many squirrels in, like, basically everywhere, and they were like so big as that, and sometimes I felt a little threatened, because I remember when we were eating at the lake, I had strawberries and they would like come really close, and then I was afraid, so I threw a few to them, but then they still would not really eat it. But I really was like, please just don't bite me, I don't want to go to a doctor. So yeah, and I think the great thing on this travel was really the travel, or the way is the goal. Can you say that in English? We say that in German. The way is the goal, or the travel is the goal. And we would really sit in this car for like hours, and we mostly listened to audiobooks from an Iceland crime, which is really, I mean, no, not stupid, but you know, Iceland is cold and crime, and we were in like a really hot place. Oh, I also remember that we made a stop in Alabama in oh man, what was the name? Let me check if I will find it out. What was okay, let me check. No, that's not the right thing. Alabama. Why don't I remember that name? Ah yeah, Mobile. And I told you that we sometimes were like in really bad accommodations, and there I guess it was the worst. I mean, it was even pretty, you know, close to the center of the city, but we decided to go out, to go to a bar, and it was dark already when we left the building, and I swear there were like so many people walking around who were drug addicts or prostitutes. I mean, nothing against them, and I was just, yeah, I mean, I did not feel that well, to be honest. And I was just, I mean, I guess we sometimes even had, or no, I mean, but I also remember I guess they did not really clean the room. They just changed the sheets, and I remember that I was just going into this bed, and I was just laying down and tried to not touch anything. But yeah, and I remembered we went to a bar, and I guess there were really only local people, and it was just really great. But in Alabama, I guess it was the first for me to understand the people. In the other states, it was pretty fine. But in Alabama, I sometimes really did not really get what they wanted to tell me. I also really enjoyed it in the States. A lot of people who talk to you, and it's really easy to get in contact with. Even though it was not to get in close contact, it's really hard. But there were so many people that would, give me their numbers or their cards. Or a guy even ran out in his car to get me a CD because I was wearing a band T-shirt, and he had a CD of it, and he just brought it to me and said, "Hey, listen to it." And yeah. So anyway, we were in South Carolina and pissed because the weather was not good again. So we drove down in one day, all the way down to Miami, which is ridiculous. And so we were pretty tired. So we always changed. She drove for 2 or 3 hours, and then I did. And always when someone would look on the GPS and the other one would drive, and I would tell her, go to the left, go to the right. But when we drove into Miami, we almost got killed. I mean, really, because I looked on my GPS and I told her to go to the left, but she was too late, so we stopped pretty much, in the middle before the car would, split. And I swear, because I was checking if she could go again, and I swear another car was driving directly in us. I mean, he was not on the line, and I was just like, okay, that's it, we're gonna die. I could not even scream or anything, and in the last second, I guess the car realized it and took a turn to the left. So anyway, we arrived, we were shaking, we were exhausted, we were like, oh my god, we just survived. Yeah. But I loved Miami's beach, the water and the sand. It was just perfect, and the sky, it had such great colors. It was so nice, and we were staying in a pretty cheap kind of place because it was really pretty in the center. And we did not really go out because we were backpacking, so we did not have any high heels or fancy dresses with us. But one night we just had a drink somewhere, and then I asked a few random guys where we could go, so they told us to go to a bar. It was a pretty big bar with a pool and stuff, and it was really, really cool. And we also, I guess we stayed up till 5 or 6 in the morning, or no, we even went to someone, and we got drunk. We got pretty drunk, and yeah, that was just a funny night without going into details, except that I really had too much beer. And yeah, I also remember that when we were in Miami, we had to go to a parking spot, and they were charging so much. So a guy from the hotel told us that we should say that we lost our ticket and that we only spent one night, even though we spent 3 or 4 nights. I don't remember anymore. So I did that, so we only had to pay one night, and they were so afraid that they would check, the cameras to see if it's really true. But I mean, he just said, oh, okay, whatever. And so we only paid like $25, otherwise it would be $100. And then because we were pretty stupid, we were basically not really planning to go to Miami. We had to drive back all the way to New Orleans, which was, I don't know, another 1.5 day. So you can tell we really spent a long time in the car, and finally we also were really pros in driving, and we were not afraid anymore to go to a gas station. So yeah, anyway, we drove back to New Orleans. We stayed there still for 1 or 2 nights, and she left from there. So she went back to Switzerland. I guess the trip with her was 3 weeks or so, 3.5 weeks, something like that. And I still stayed for 1 or 2 nights more. And then I took a flight to Mexico. But this is gonna be another video. And because my mouth is pretty dry, even though I'm drinking. Anyway, I will continue. If you like this storytelling, I will be happy to continue. I thought I would come further in 1 hour. Anyway, please leave me a thumbs up and a